MMC TV USA. Now on POTV, Channel 100.
Ayubowan. Welcome to MMC TV Saddhamwahini USA Sakmana program. Sakmana is the program where we discuss timely topic. In previous program, we discussed about Sinhala and Hindu New Year traditions and customs. First of all, I would like to take this opportunity to thank all who did the comment for us, and thank you for your responses, comments. It gave us kind of enthusiastic encouragement to continue this program for the future. So now we are in the month of May. Month of the May is very important for all the Buddhist people who are living in the world. No matter what Buddhist schools, Buddhist tradition you are coming from, Vesak celebration is everywhere where the people who are living in the Buddhist people in the Buddhist countries. So today our program, Sakmana program, dedicated to discuss about the Vesak celebration or the significant event of the Buddha's birth, enlightenment and his great passing away. Today our topic is Vesak. Vesak is very important for each and everyone, all the Buddhist people. We are celebrating the significant event of the Buddha's life, his birth, enlightenment and great passing away of the Buddha. To discuss this topic, we have two venerable monks. I would like to welcome both the venerable monks. First, I would like to introduce Venerable Unaleeye Sirinanda Thera. Welcome Bhante to our program. So Bhante Sirinanda is one of the resident monks of Los Angeles Buddhist Vihara Mindfulness Meditation Center, and also Bhante is completing his PhD degree at the University of the West these days. Again, thank you Bhante for coming today. And again we have Venerable Suwanna Thera from Nepal. Welcome Venerable for coming our program today. Bhante Suwanna, also one of our resident monks of our Buddhist Center, Mindfulness Meditation Center. Bhante recently graduated from University of the Harvard. So even the Bhante gave a wonderful knowledge, and he shared his experiential and theoretical knowledge on the New Year last program. And now, even though we have the three significant events in the Vesak, but today we are focusing on one subject matter. We are talking about the Buddha's birth. So I would like to begin our discussion with Bhante Sirinanda. So Bhante, we all have studying, learning about the Buddha's life from our childhood up to now even. But still we have to learn more things on the Buddha's life and his teaching, right? So I remember when I was at my young age, we learn the Buddha's birth, about the Buddhahood, the idea of the Buddhahood, the eons and eons before, early, right? So, could you recap our memory about how the first idea started in his sansaric journey, the idea of being a Buddha? So, would you like to recap our memory?
Yeah, thank you, Bhante, for your question. So, that's the first question that we need to discuss when we talk about the Buddha's birth. So, we know that the Bodhisattva is the being who is trying to be the Buddha, who is fulfilling the perfections to be the Buddha, the future Buddha. So, when we talk about the Gautam Buddha's previous lives and his aspirations, we remember that one Jataka story, which is called the Mathaposaka Jataka. When the Bodhisattva was a young man and he was traveling with his mom in the ocean with a ship, and unfortunately the ship was wrecked with a storm. And what happened that all the beings and all the humans in the ship, they were sinking the ocean. So what he did, he carried his mom and he started swimming in the ocean continuously 7 days until he find the ground. So finally he got to the island, and at that time his mom, she gave a great aspiration, a great wish that my son, one day you will be the Supreme Buddha. So the commentary says that it is the first thought that he got that thought that one day he want to be the Buddha. On the other hand, we find some commentarial literature. This is that the Bodhisattva, he has been fulfilling the perfections and he has been doing his deeds for being the Buddha before 20 uncalculable eons. Usually we say that the Bodhisattva has been perfecting for 4 uncalculable eons, right? So it's more beyond. That means the first kind of aspiration, it is called the Mano Pranidhana. Mano Pranidhana means the mental aspiration. That the story says that one day he has been a king at that time, and he saw the Buddha. The name of the Buddha was the Brahmadeva Supreme Buddha. That means 20 uncalculable eons before from today. So
you mean the eon, the Pali word, the kalpa, right?
Yeah, it's called Asankhya Kalpa.
Right. That is the word we
usually use. Yes.
Okay.
So when he saw the majesty of the Buddha, the Supreme Buddha, and supremacy of the Buddha, and he was followed by thousands of the monks, and he got the aspiration that one day I want to be the Buddha. So that is also one point that the commentary is pointing out. That is the first thought that he had, he wanted to be the Buddha. But it is a mental aspiration, it has a thought. But the importance here is that he has been thinking about it for 7 eons, 7 uncalculable eons. He has been thinking about that he wants to be the Buddha. That's the most important thing. And it says that during that 7 eons, he had met 125,000 Buddhas. 125,000 Buddhas.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very interesting. And the other thing is that the second kind of aspiration is called the Vachi Pranidhana or Vak Pranidhana. That means the expressed verbal aspiration. After the 7 incalculable eons, one day he met another Buddha. His name was the Purana Samma Sambuddha. And at that time he was a universal monarchy, who we call the Chakravarti Raja. And in front of that Buddha, he saw the majesty and the supremacy and the holiness of the Buddha. And he, at that time, he made the aspiration that he verbally expressed his aspiration, one day I want to be the Supreme Buddha. And the Purana Samma Sambuddha, he confirmed that one day you will be the Supreme Buddha. But this kind of aspiration, it is called the, those are called actually Aniyata Vivarana. That means that aspiration, it is not confirmed yet. Because during that time he can change his mind. Yeah.
During before his Vak Pranidhana?
Yeah, even during the Vak Pranidhana he can change his mind.
Oh, okay, that's great.
Yeah, that's called the Aniyata Vivarana. Yeah, so during that time, that means 9 incalculable eons. Altogether 16 incalculable eons he was practicing or thinking about and talking about the Buddhahood, that I want to be the Buddha. So during that Vak Pranidhana period, he had met 387,000 Buddhas. Altogether 512,000 Buddhas. Sometimes we say that 5,12,000 Buddhajanan Vahansela. 512,000 Buddhas he has met during this 16 incalculable eons.
That is a great point to reflect on, because we usually talk about the 28 Buddhas, right? The 7 Buddhas, or many number of Buddhas. Okay. Yeah. With that, the attention to that much of long period of time, eons, and determination, wishes. We all have such wishes, the determination in our, the daily life. For example, I have my wishes to achieve this very life, but it's very hard to, continuously working for that achievement, to achieve my goal, right, Bhante? So what do you think? So can we achieve our wishes? Can we, continuously maintain such wishes for such a long period of time in our life, samsaric journey?
Yeah, it's a very great question, Venerable. Thank you so much. Yes, it's really very, very hard to continue that kind of determination for a long, long period of time. So when it's come about
focusing for one purpose.
One purpose. Yes. Nowadays, we are often distracted by these electronic devices. A lot of information is flowing through these devices, and we often forget our vision, our aim, and we again go back to our normal lives. Whenever New Year starts, we make a determination, or we write in a vision board. But when it's come into the mission, how to imply those vision into real world, whenever they face ups and downs, people often give up their vision. So it's very important to have a determined vision, thought, sustain the thought for a long period of time. So that's why they have very needed of planned mission, and also the people who surrounded with him. They often say in English, if you want to become a lion, you have to be with the lion, not the sheep. So when we see the Buddha's life story, even past life story, he was always associating the good friendship, Kalyana Mitras, and the peoples around him were supporting him to become a Buddha until his last birth. So it was very well planned by himself, and also the people around us, the deities around us, to make him the Buddha. So that's why we often get afraid when we make a big type of visions. Someone want to become a president, or want to go to the moon, or go to the Mars, or even climb the Mount Everest. It cannot be done in one night. Also there is another saying in English, idiom, you cannot eat the whole elephant in one night. So you have to eat bit by bit. So you need to have a small steps, but steady steps, continuous step by step. When you climb the Mount Everest, it's more than 8,848 meters, but you cannot climb in whole day. So we have to plan for many years before you have to go training to climb the other mountains. And at the last day of, to reach the top, even you have to do very in a slow phase, in a determined way. So that's why, bit by bit, but continuous steps are important. So the important is it doesn't mean how fast or how slow you are. are you directing to the right direction? Are you going to the right direction with the right purpose, with the right people, and right actions?
You mean there is a possibility to maintain such determination continuously for birth to birth in the samsaric journey, right?
Yeah.
So that's great, because you know, even if we have wish for, you know, the realization, liberation in our dharma practices, right? It's very, as you mentioned, it's very difficult to you know, the practice continuously practice our own practices for that particular object, right? Yeah. Again, yes, there are many things to discuss about that matter, but now I would like to move to the next point on the Buddha's life, Bhante. So you mentioned about the perfection, or the what we call the manopanidana and vagpanidana, right? After that point, how do you recap again our memory about the Buddha's life?
Yes, Bhante. So this is the point that we usually start to talk about the Buddha's previous life, starting from the life of the ascetic Sumedha. So as ascetic Sumedha, he got the permanent affirmation from the Dipankara Samma Sambuddha. So the ascetic Sumedha, he was a ascetic that he has attained to several levels of the samapatti attainments, and he could even travel in the sky, walk in the sky. So he was in the Himalaya mountains meditating, and when he was traveling on the sky, he saw that a lot of people have gathered to specific, I think the name of the city is Ramma. They gathered to the city and they were like doing something on the city. So he just came down and asked the people, what are you doing here? So they told that we are decorating the city for the Buddha. Once he heard the word of the Buddha, the Samma Sambuddha, he was very enthusiastic about it. And he told that if you are decorating, it's like a kind of a veneration for the Buddha, and please give me something to do here. So what they did that, they gave him the very difficult part of the road to decorate or to fix the road. It was a muddy area, and the commentator says that even the ascetic Sumedha, he could able to make that part with his psychic powers, but he did not do it. He wanted to pay his physical energy as a kind of veneration for the Buddha. So he tried hard to fix the place, the muddy area, but he could not finish until the Buddha's arrival. So finally what he did, he lay down on the muddy area and he made a great wish. If one day I will be the Supreme Buddha, may the Dipankara Samma Sambuddha may tread on me, he walk on me. I will be laying here as a bridge, and all the Mahasangha, may they tread on me. So that was his aspiration. When the Dipankara Samma Sambuddha, he came to the near to the Sumedha, ascetic Sumedha, he understood that his aspiration, and he at that time he gave the permanent aspiration, permanent affirmation. This ascetic, after 4 incalculable eons, he will be the Samma Sambuddha. That is called the permanent affirmation of got from the Samma Sambuddha. So that is the life of the ascetic Sumedha. We know that from that time, he has been fulfilling the perfection, especially the 10 perfections, for 4 uncalculable eons and another 100,000 eons. So what we call in Pali, in Sinhalese we call that Sara Sankhya Kalpalaksha, right? So that was the time he was practicing, or he was fulfilling the perfections. So in that time sometimes he has been a human, even the various status of the human world, like the kings and the ministers, and sometimes the scholars, and sometimes a normal man, general person, and sometimes he has been an animal, various lives in the samsaric journey. So he has been fulfilling the perfections, and the last human life he had was the Vesantara Jataka, Vesantara, the life as the Prince Vesantara or the King Vesantara. And finally he fulfilled his Dana Paramita, or the perfection of the generosity, in the great grand scale that no one can do that except the Bodhisattva. Actually, when we talk about that point, previously we were talking about how strong his aspiration was, how strong his determination was, right? So in especially the Mahayana Buddhism, they say that the Bodhisattvas are the Mahasattvas. That means that their mind is very broad. It is not narrow like general people. Always they are thinking that first I will get rid of the samsara, and I will make the others get rid of the samsara. That is the aspiration. That is the concept of the Bodhisattvas. That is what they call the Bodhisattvas or the Mahasattvas. So if somebody has that kind of wish or that kind of intention, only they could fulfill that kind of perfections and keep that determination for a long time. Even the general people, they can't even imagine. Even we cannot imagine how long it was, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's a wonderful point that we all can reflect on, because qualities of the Buddha is unthinkable. Also, very long. It goes to eons and eons. So, the life story that goes to such a long period of time, it's very hard to talk about, within couple of minutes, Bhante, right? I just wanted to, remind ourselves, reflect on the story, Buddha's life story that we learn from our childhood up to now. So, reflecting on that points, now I want to pay our attention to the important point of the Buddha's life, the birth of the Buddha in Lumbini, right, Nepal. Bhante, you are coming from Nepal, right? So I think you are the right person to talk about that, because what we call the Nepal land of the Buddha, right? So can you explain a little bit about what are the the historical evidence and archaeological evidence that we can refer to figure out the Buddha's life, and especially the Buddha's birth in the Nepal, in the Lumbini? What is your opinion on that matter?
Yes, it's very important, Venerable. Thank you so much for the question. The Buddha himself reminded us before he departed, the faithful disciples should visit 4 places. The place of Buddha's birthplace, Lumbini. The second is where he became Buddha, now in Bodh Gaya. The third place is where he shared his knowledge. He preached the first sermon in Varanasi in Sarnath. And the fourth is where he passed away, the Kushinagar. So these 4 places are important for every faithful followers, and to pilgrimage those places and to become more connected to the Buddha and also the teaching of the Buddha. So the one of is the Lumbini, where he got the place. So there are a lot of theories and how they found the exact Buddha's birthplace. We have seen in a lot of texts, primary texts like Tripitaka, Atthakatha, commentaries and chronicles, Vangshakatha, especially Mahavamsa, Deepavamsa, Chulavamsa, all these chronicles. They says the Buddha was born in Lumbini, but no one knows where the Lumbini is. So it was a huge task for especially the Archaeological Survey of India. So at the time of British colonial time, in 1861 it was established, and 1871 a great archaeologist called ever known Alexander Cunningham. He is a great archaeologist who discovered most of the archaeological site of Buddhist sacred place. So they have already discovered.
He has contributed a lot to find out.
Discover from the earth. So they was tracing back the history. They was reading the text, and especially the pillars of Asoka kingdom, the Asoka empire. He erected nearly 38 edicts has found all over the India, somewhere in Pakistan, Afghanistan. So those edicts, pillars, mention here. I have visited in certain year, is year of my coronation, and this is the birthplace. This is the Buddha's, where he spent the places. So those pillars were very. So they were searching for the pillar, and also the report of the Chinese travelers. I think you may have heard the Hungxian, Faxian, Zenzing, Yizing. There are several, nearly 4 main travelers, Chinese monk travelers, who was taking route from the Silk Route to India to find the texts, Buddhist texts, and they want to study in Nalanda actually. And some of them, like Faxian, Venerable, he even came to Sri Lanka. So those records are so important to navigate where the Buddha's birthplace is. So the Cunningham, sent a lot of exhibitors, his student, to find out where the pillar is. They already found other rest. Only the birthplace was remain.
Okay, so before they found the birthplace,
they found the other rest. Both Gaya, Sarnath, and Kushina were already discovered. And there was one. His name is Alois Anton Ferrer. So he is the one who found the pillar of the Lumbini. So he couldn't read what's written there, and he sent to another scholar called Berkler. So he translated that scripture, and it said, "Here Buddha jate Sakamuni." Here the place where the Buddha was born, and it was marked by the King Asoka by 29th year of his coronation. So it's clearly mentioned here the Buddha was born. And Divya Padana and Asoka Padana also mention how he came to Lumbini with Upagupta, his teacher, and how he erect the pillars and how he makes shrines. Also, now they have found a lot of archaeological facts. There was a lot of monasteries was there, and he placed a marker stone. Now the marker stone discovered, and a lot of images. So there are enough artifacts to prove exactly where the Buddha was born. So now in present Lumbini.
Thank you. So it's mean we have enough, the written historical evidence.
Yes.
And also archaeological evidence to prove where the Buddha was born, right? Yes. But I would like to ask the following question, because these days I hear a lot of arguments on that particular subject matter, right? So, especially in Sri Lanka, the group of people are arguing and quarreling with the other Buddhist communities. So, the Buddha was born in Sri Lanka, and even his enlightenment, his passing away, each and every significant event happened in Sri Lanka. So this is the topic that the group of people are arguing on this subject matter about the Buddha's life. But there is enough evidence, right? So what do you think about this argument?
Yeah, so this certain group of people, they are making this argument. There are some basement, and there are also some kind of myths. One is, the Dr. Führer, one who I was talking about, who discovered the Lumbini. There is some issue with his character. Although he found several places, especially the Niglihawa scripture, where another scripture found in nearby Lumbini, which helped to navigate where the exact Lumbini is, and the second is the Lumbini scripture. So both was found by him, but during his period of working in archaeology department, he did some kind of bad action. He was smuggling and making fake relic out of elephant bone and selling to some monks, some merchant in Burma. And also he was making some fake archaeological evidence, just writing on the bricks and selling to other people. So that's the place why the people doubt the birthplace of Buddha is fake, because his certain action made him to doubt, and even he was removed. So there was another person called Smith.
Sorry for this. So you mean the doubt even before what we are talking about these days, even in the previously had that doubt, you mean?
Yes, it's among the archaeological society, but they don't doubt about the Buddha's birthplace, but doubt about his work, some of his work. So because of the few wrong actions, scandals, archaeological scandals, he was disgraced and removed from the department. He was sent back to Europe. But the majority of archaeological society, they don't doubt about the site of the Lumbini. It's already proven. But based on this story, the people who are talking about is making another version of story to fulfill those gaps. And also it's come about nationality, nationalism, not only Sri Lanka, even several other places, even Chinese, they claim that Buddha was born in China. And some other states, they also claim Buddha was born in their country to make them, to try to give the birth certificate. And it has a hidden geopolitical conspiracy going on. If you say the Buddha was born in Sri Lanka, and what it states that, all the Mahavamsa, all the history, the whole Buddhist history will go ups and down. And Sri Lanka will completely alienate from India and also the Buddhist history. So the new generation will doubt and will not believe in Buddhistry and even in Buddhism. It generates doubt in them and also in their personal spiritual practice too.
Okay. Yeah. So it's very. I think it's kind of very disaster. Right?
Yes.
Thinking about any country's history, right? History of any country. Yeah, we don't want to go further on that subject matter, but I just wanted to raise that issue.
Yes, that's good too, yeah.
During these days, we can see how people are arguing on that matter. Again, yeah, I want to ask a question from the Sirinanda. So, what do you think? I remember at our childhood, we learn about the very important part in the Buddha's life, what we call the Pasmahabena Panchavilokana, right? So, is there any, the Pali canonical resources to, read or understand this matter, or how this point came to the history, the Buddhist history?
Yeah, actually, the Acharya Bhuta Sutta, it is in Majjhima Nikaya.
Okay.
Yeah, it confirms that after the passing away from the Vesantara life, the Bodhisattva was reborn in the Tusita heaven.
Okay.
Usually it says that all the Bodhisattvas, before their final birth in the human world, they are residing in the Tusita heaven. And the commentary says that at that time, it is the time actually he is looking for the Panchamahavilokana, that the 5 observations. And also the commentary says that there's a special thing, it is called the Kolahala. Some commentary says there are 5 Kolahala. Kolahala means kind of a discussion, people are very curious about and people are discussing about. And some commentary says there were 3 Kolahala. The English word for the Kolahala is something like uproar. Yeah, people like discussing and they are talking about it, sometimes arguing about it, and sometimes the fake figures coming out saying that I'm the Buddha, something like that.
You mean the announcement?
Yeah, kind of announcement. So there it says that one of the Kolahala is called the Kappa Kolahala. Kappa Kolahala means the 100,000 years before the end of the world system, or generally we can say the world, the earth, before end of the earth, some of the deities from the heaven or celestial world, they are very sad about it because the whole world system, even the heavens and the Brahma's world are going to be finished. So they come to the human world and they shout in the streets, in the freeways and the highways or the junctions, that after 100,000 years, the whole world system going to be vanished or destroyed, maybe burned. So please keep yourself mindful and try to do good actions, respect your parents and take care of them, and do a lot of merits. So that is the message they are giving. This is called the Kappa Kolahala. And another Kolahala is about the Chakravarti Kolahala. That means that when before a universal monarchies appear in the world, usually 100 years before his arrival, the birth, the same thing happens. And the very special thing is the Buddha Kolahala. So the commentary says that the Buddha Kolahala happens 1,000 years before the Buddha's arrival to the human world, Buddha's appearance, Buddha's birth. So also the commentary says that it depends on the lifespan of the Buddha. We know that the Gautam Buddha's lifespan was like 80 years. So for that kind of lifespan, the message of the arrival of the upcoming the Buddha, it happens 1,000 years before. That means the 1,000 years before, some deities come from the heaven and they come to the human world and they give the message that the Supreme Buddha will appear in the human world 1,000 years beyond. So before that, actually the deities, especially the Brahmas, they go to the Tusita heaven and ask the permission from the Bodhisattva. So this is the good time for you to appear in the human world.
You mean the invitation?
Yeah, kind of invitation. It happens 1,000 years before his arrival.
Okay.
When we compare the time, sometimes 1,000 years in human world, sometimes maybe 1 day, 2 days for the Tusita heaven, maybe less than that. It's also interesting. So at that time, actually it is the time the Bodhisattva, he was looking for the 5 observations. He was considering about Kala, the time. Is this the perfect time for me to reborn in the human world? That means if the condition of the human world is good for the arrival of the Buddha and the enlightenment, are the mindset of the people are suitable for the grasping my doctrine, the time. And also he was looking for the deeper, that means which continent I should be reborn in, which is the perfect continent, and the desha, which is the land or the country, and the kula, that means which clan I should be reborn in. That clan should be a respectable family, otherwise people will not respect, people will not be attentive to your teachings. So that's also interesting. And finally, who is going to be the mother? So these are the 5 things that the Bodhisattva was looking for before his arrival to the human world.
Okay, thank you for reminding us that wonderful point to reflect on again on the Buddha's life. Before discuss further, I would like to ask another following question pertaining to the same subject matter Bhante mentioned. So, the looking for Panchamahavilokana or 5 observations, what is the psychological or psychosocial point of view on this matter, Bhante?
Thank you very much, Venerable. Yeah. Two things happen. We need a background context. And nothing happens in history without a context. To be born as a Buddha, they need a context. There should be need. The people should be ripen enough. Their cognitive capacity should be enough to understand a Buddha's word. So especially the Indian subcontinent was already ready to receive, accept a Buddha, because if we start from the Vedic literature, the episteme, the Jnana Marga, to search for the truth was already there. So the Vedic literature, the Aranyaka Upanishad, and the Shraman movement, they rose against the Vedic hierarchy, the Brahman hierarchy, and they went to the forest and do meditation thoroughly, and they have already discovered the certain level of absorption, the dhyanas, the 8 samapattis. So the cognitive level, epistemal level, already ready to accept the Buddha. So that's the one of the background, the psychosocial background to receive the Buddha. And also the place, and also the mother is very, very important, especially the background, If you want to know who am I, who are you, we often go by where you were born, who are your parents, because they really impact on the baby, on the kid. So obviously the Buddha is a great human being. So to order to make a great human being, he need the great parents, the great surrounding, good family, great class. So that's the psychosocial need in order to make a great human ideal personality.
How about the clan, the Buddha? So the same, right? So need to find the proper clans to born such a great person.
Yeah, to be accepted, it's just a need to be accepted from the mass society. But again, the Buddha, there's another controversy issue too. Right. Buddha, denied all kind of human classification.
That's why I wanted to, point out that particular point.
Yeah, he was against all kind of hierarchical societies. It was at the time when he was born in the second class. It's called Kshatriya, the ruler. So Brahma are the higher, in the top of hierarchy. The Brahmin, the priest. Kshatriya, the ruler. The third is merchants, Vaishya. And the Sudra are the workers, slaves. So the Buddha rejected this kind of hierarchy, and he gave his own spiritual way of definition of this hierarchy. Brahmins are not because of coming out from the mouth of the Brahma, but the Bhati Papoti Brahmano, one who eradicated all defilement of Brahmin. Kshatris are not Kshatris, one who protect the Kshatriya, the field, the land, are the Kshatris, not by just born in the royal family. So this is how the Buddha redefined those class. So he was always against the discrimination in the human society. But it was need to become born in a certain class to be accepted by the mass.
Right. Okay, yes, thank you. And again, there are wonderful, the history especially the Buddha's life to reflect on. But unfortunately, we don't have much time to talk much about this point from different angles, right? Okay, Bhante, I know before giving any Dhamma talks, mostly all the Bhantes are reminding their audience about the rareness of human birth and rareness of the appearance of the Buddha, rareness of listening to the Dharma, and also having the monkhood, Pabbajja, right? So we usually know, even as all the Bhantes mention, we know that appearance of the Buddha, birth the birth of the Buddha is very rare opportunity, right? Why it's called rare?
Okay. Actually, why we call the Buddha's appearance, Buddha's emergence is rare, because to become the supreme Buddha, someone has to dedicate a very long time that we cannot even imagine. So, unless the great-minded person, great Bodhisattva, no one can do that. So, his final achievement is the Buddhahood. So, his final birth in the human world is so rare. So, that's the one point. And the other thing is that his intention is to understand the liberation or the nirvana, and find out the way that how to get rid of the samsaric journey, and to show others how to get rid of the samsara. So that is why it is very important. And the birth of the Buddha is marvelous and fascinating. We have heard about a lot of stories about the deliverance of the Bodhisattva, right? In the Lumbini garden, how the mother Mahamaya, she was delivering the baby, and how the guardian deities, they protected the land, and how they received the baby Bodhisattva. And also he was washed with the warm water and the fresh water, and his mother has no any pain after the deliverance, and she has the commentaries, not the commentary, the Acharya Buddha Sutta says that during that she was pregnant, she has had no any kind of sensual desires. And also exactly during 10 months she could deliver the baby. Usually generally the ordinary mothers, they deliver their babies when they are lying on the bed. But the Bodhisattva, he is coming to the world when the mother is standing. And it says that once he was delivered, and the deities, the 4 guardian deities, they received the Bodhisattva, and they showed the baby to the mother, and then he was able to speak and talk. And he tread 7 steps on the ground, and he says that I'm the foremost in the world, I'm the eldest in the world, and I'm the first in the world, and this is my last birth. Now there are no more rebirths for me. So that is the great lion's rover of the Buddha's life, the first lion's rover. That's why his emergence is very important.
It means there is exactly the Pali discourses, right?
Yeah, it is
explaining this incident, right?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Again, the same question. I would like to pay your attention, Bhante, because all the controversial questions come to you.
I'm ready.
You know, the child who just born, talking and walking, Bhante just mentioned 7 steps on the lotus flower, I think, right? So, what do you think? Because if I mention this story to our children, young generation, they may ask again the question, right? They may have doubts, right? So, what do you think? Can this kind of things can happen?
Yes, Venerable, it's a very important and very contradictory, the question. Yes, things can happen, extrasensory perceptions, things, extrasensory capabilities, power can happen even nowadays. Some psychic power. So we can see this event in a different perspective. One as a historical, one as a literature, and also one as from the extrasensory perception view. So as Bhante already mentioned, how historically it happens. When it comes to literature is a kind of poetry. The writer should make it more beautiful. Just like when you make a 3D animation, you should make beautiful sound, beautiful images to make it more beautiful. The video make it more beautiful. So the poet have written in a very beautiful way. So in Sahitya, in literature, it's called Atisoyakti, exaggeration. They exaggerate the event to more beautiful way. If you say the child was born in Lumbini and he became Buddha, then the story is no interesting. So to make more interesting, the poet, the writer should add very beautiful story around him or her. That's how the narrative science or narratology works. So in Buddhist narratology too, we have lots of these myths and mythologies to make the Buddha's biography more beautiful and to make more faithful. So in every religion, there are a lot of myths and mythologies. So because of that, it creates a lot of kind of faith, bhakti, to believe, in that person, that special person. So the Buddha has a lot of marks in his body and a lot of capabilities. As you said, he walked on the flower, lotus flower, 7th step, and he spoke. So these kind of things are needed in literature to make more meaningful and more interesting. And another, the one of the 21st century, the child will again ask how it's happened. So yes, miracles can happen. Because nowadays you can even see, even a small child, just 1 or 2 years child, start to speak different languages without associating, going to another territories, country. They can speak, they can talk different capabilities. Some kids are like Google. They can answer every kind of questions, mathematical questions. So people, some extraordinary people can have these extraordinary capabilities. So we can see in these different angles, and yes, it's possible. And the most important is, how the story is told. The way the story is told make you to see the Buddha in an extraordinary way and to make you more faithful towards the Buddha's life.
It's mean there is a possibility to
Yes.
this happen, because especially the Buddha's life is what we call the Acharya.
Yes, because he has collected a lot of energy, a lot of, as Bhante has mentioned, paramitas for eons and eons. So those paramitas may reflect on this life. So if each of us are different and we have different capacities, why? Because of our different karmas that we have accumulated.
Right. Okay. Thank you. Yes. Before ending the topic, today's topic, I would like to give both Bhantes to kind of to end our discussion, because we are not, trying to give the education academically, give the knowledge, and we wanted to share some knowledge from Pali Canon, historical knowledge, and our experiential knowledge, right, Bhante? So finally, would you like to share what is the importance of learning Buddha's life?
Actually, yeah, Bhante, thank you. It's a very good question that when we learn the Buddha's life story, so we have to remember that, as Bhante Suwanna mentioned earlier, the Buddha's life is the culmination of the result of 20 incalculable years' effort. So it is a spirit of all the abilities and a lot of great qualities. So we can get the lessons from that great qualities of the Buddha. Even they are narratives or the stories, so somebody can believe it without any doubt, but somebody may doubt about it. It doesn't matter. So what the way the path the Buddha showed us, with that respect we can follow it. So that is the great benefit that we can get from learning about the Buddha's life story.
Okay, thank you. So how about your final words to our discussion today?
Yes, learning, studying the Buddha's biography is very, very important. You can find, how Buddha immersed this world, and he is not just a mythological being or the religious leader, but he was a real historical character who used to live in 6th century BC, and how he discovered this ultimate truth of, free away from this dukkha suffering. So his whole journey can be seen in this biography, It doesn't happen without any reason. It has a history why it happened. So we learn from the history what happened in his life, and also we can find our own meaning in his character, the way he faced the problems, the way he, with all the hassles, he also had a lot of suffering, illness, political issues, all kind of issues he handled himself, and also the way he managed his missionary, his sangha. So we can learn from him, and we can even resonate one of the character in his character.
Okay. Thank you both the Bhantes for giving and contributing us to share wonderful knowledge, experiential, and the knowledge that you have learned from your life during your lifetime. And again, there are a lot of benefits of learning Buddha's life, but still our main focus must be focusing on what Buddha taught us. So that must be our final aim of learning and discussing about these topics. Thank you for all for joining us to this wonderful discussion today. Again, next week we are planning to talk about much more about the Buddha's life, focusing on Buddha's life starting from his childhood up to his enlightenment. During that time, there are a lot of wonderful incidents in the Buddha's life that we can focus, that we can learn much about his determination, his dedication to enlightenment. With that intention, our mind, we would like to bless upon you all by the power of all the positive energy that we are going to accrue throughout this Vesak month. May you be well, happy and peaceful. Thank you.
To catch the full program and more, subscribe to MMC TV USA on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram and TikTok